Wow. Hi, welcome to a new vlog. If you watched my previous video, you will know that I have not been feeling well, and that continued into today. Maybe I'm a little bit better, but yes, I need to keep resting it off. I'm flying to Italy on the 23rd, and I really want this to be bye-bye by the time I step on that airplane. So I thought to go down the street and get myself a poke bowl because I'm craving like salmon or something. Do you consider those bangs anymore when they look like that? And then I'm gonna read Intimations by Zadie Smith, and I'm also want to write a bit today, which is maybe a bigger conversation about writing and my relationship to writing, but I'm having an urge to write today. So I thought maybe should I like film that? Should I do like a 10 minutes with music, like write with me kind of session? Would that be interesting to anyone? Okay, I'm gonna get myself some food and then we can reconvene. I'm wearing the sweater that I keep wearing in every single video. Recently acquired from Other Stories. Fanny pack. This is like a vintage Picasso t-shirt. These are the black trousers I love from Cause. And I've been wearing a lot recently my black Adidas sneakers, which have been in my closet for a long time and I never really wear, but I'm having a moment with them. So I'm just sitting here reading Intimations. I wanted to share with you two quotes that I wrote down, both from the essay called, I think it's called Something to Do. Yeah, Something to Do. Just for context, if you're not familiar with Intimations by Zadie Smith, she wrote this collection of essays during the pandemic, reflecting on, isolation and just various things that this pandemic, brought into our lives. This one, called Something to Do, is kind of her grappling with being an artist and being a writer and having to isolate at home. I also sort of felt this sort of, what is the role of art while we're in this situation? How do we create it? What do we do about too much time? They say that like some of the greatest works of art come from like really having a lot of time and space to create them. But in the situation of a pandemic, when you feel that time is sort of stretched, you constantly feel like you need to do things, like you need to accomplish a bunch of things. So then in a sense, you feel like you don't have time for anything. I don't know, it's hard. I'm still reflecting on it, but I just thought it was interesting, her being a writer, writing about how and what is the role of writing in this pandemic situation. And that's why the essay is called Something to Do. She says, like, so many people ask, why do you write? Why do you paint? Why do you da 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 da? And the real answer is because it's something to do. So she wrote two pieces in here that I thought were really interesting. One says writing is control, that how actually instead of thinking of writing as something creative, it's something about control. It's something about experience, mystifying and overwhelming, conscious and unconscious. Writers take it further. They take this largely shapeless bewilderment and pour it into a mold of their own devising. Writing is all resistance. She's saying, unlike, planting a seed for a plant that is sort of a creation that writing is more about controlling and putting form into the experience of moving through the world and less almost like creating something from nothing. She said, although the most powerful art, it sometimes seems to me, is an experience and a going through. It is love comprehended by, expressed, and enacted through the artwork itself. I liked that powerful art is a going through. I liked that. Anyway, just wanted to share. I'm gonna get back to reading. Bye. Hi friends. So I just did some cleaning, which you saw. You know, I have this cough, and I'm thinking that a dust is also contributing to it. So when I was reading earlier in bed, which you saw because I was sort of reading a little bit to you, I think that maybe the bedroom was just a little bit dusty, so I vacuumed and wiped down the surfaces. Got one of those fireplace things going on that comes with like some nice jazz music. I've got, I think, one more section left of Intimations, and this is the kind of title essay called Intimations. So probably about 25 pages left of that, so I'm sure I'll finish it. I'm finding it really interesting. I was just telling Ignacia from Literary Iggy, I was just talking to her on Instagram, and I was telling her that this is sort of the first book that I've read that's really a pandemic book, or in the sense that she wrote this during COVID times, and that's the first thing that I've read of that nature. I'm not gravitating towards a lot of reading or watching things that like really revolve around the virus pandemic. But this one I'm enjoying, and of course it's relatable. There was a really interesting piece that I think it's the second essay or maybe fourth essay. I think it's called Suffering Like Mel Gibson, and it's just about suffering versus privilege, their differences, and kind of just in general, I feel like validating each person's experience of suffering in the pandemic. No matter how big or small your sufferings are on a wider scale, they are valid. Yeah, and she just compared it to privilege in a really interesting way. She's got that kind of critical and creative brain that I like. It would do a disservice to just try to make a blanket statement about what each essay is about, because she's a lot more intellectual and layered than I can explain to you. I'm gonna make some tomato soup. So I enlisted Ohad's sister to help me with that, because we met the other night for dinner and she mentioned she has like a really easy, really delicious tomato soup that she makes when like she's just doesn't know what to make. So I asked her for that, so I'm gonna get cooking on that. This is a very homey, cozy vlog, sicky vlog. So I'm just cutting tomatoes in half and putting them on a baking sheet with garlic cloves, and then I'm just putting a bit of olive oil and I'm roasting them for about 45 minutes at 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 200 degrees Celsius. I remember that people really enjoyed cooking content. I mean, I love to watch it also, so it makes sense. So this is really easy. All you do is put tomatoes and garlic in the oven. You can probably hear it sizzling in there. While you do that, you caramelize onions on the stove. That took about 20 minutes. And then we're gonna throw it in the blender. If you have a handheld like immersion blender, you don't need, it will be much easier for you, but I don't have one. So I'm gonna let things cool, put it in the blender, blend it up. Very grandma vibes pot, because I felt like tomato soup in this is just the vibe. We're gonna add vegetable broth or water, and oregano and some other spices if you want. That's basically it. Pretty freaking easy, if you ask me. Okay. Yeah, with my cowboy boots on. We need to clean this mirror. Oh my god, I can't even see anything. You guys, there's a pigeon right here on my balcony. I'm wondering if she can't fly or is just chilling with her feet on my flooded balcony. Should I be worried? Hi, so I just finished Intimations by Zadie Smith. Overall, I'm really glad that I read something by her. You know, she's another one of those like big names, especially in the circles of people I know that are reading things similar to me. I know that most of my friends who have picked up her novel White Teeth did not vibe with it, so I haven't tried to give it a chance, but have liked her nonfiction more. I can say I enjoyed her nonfiction. I can't compare it to anything else that she's written. Like the concept of a collection of essays being created in a specific time at a specific turning point in the world that is, well, still is like the coronavirus, but specifically like really when we first entered the like big lockdown when the pandemic hit. I think it's interesting to kind of give yourself a project as an author, as a writer, to collect your thoughts about and reflections during that time. So I enjoyed that she published this collection, and also that all the proceeds of book sales went directly to relief funds. So I thought that was beautiful. For me, it was a little hit and miss, but with most essay collections, I feel it's that way. Sometimes I wonder if it has to do with the fact that it jumps around in terms of theme. Like, I mean, they're all nonfiction, but talking about different subjects, and sometimes that can feel maybe a bit disjointed, or some you enjoy more than others. There was a really powerful one. She's kind of talking about virus, like what is a virus, and that we've got some serious issues with the virus of contempt, starting with the slave trade and colonialism, and how that like virus of contempt for the other, contempt for the Black people, is something that is just constantly being spread and infecting people through school systems, through families, through passed down and passed through society continually to this day. And what is the cure for this kind of insidious virus? So I thought that that was very powerful. She was also talking about, you know, performative activism on social media, or, you know, like the blackout day on Instagram, relevant things. So that was really strong and very powerful. And the last one, which is called Intimations, sort of like a list, and each is someone's name. And I didn't understand what she was doing there. If I missed something, I tried to reread some of it before I filmed this to kind of gather more thoughts about it, but I couldn't really get it. I think something went over my head there. I didn't understand what she's doing. And she writes some very smart and compelling sentences. She's a great writer, but I didn't get totally the last section. If you have read this and you wanna either write me an email or on Instagram, or just leave a comment downstairs, like reflecting with me about the last section called Intimations, I would really love to talk about it. I think she's also just reflecting on how being in a pandemic that forces you to really sit with yourself, looking at yourself and your morals and your choices and your decisions. You do what you contribute to the world, how you create those things. What is the future importance of what you spend your time doing if the world is crumbling in this way? That's very, very interesting, and I think that we can all relate to that. So I'm glad that I read it. And some very strong moments, but I wouldn't say as a whole it was my favorite essay collection I ever read. I also met with Jessica from Jessica's Book Stack on Instagram. I'll leave her Instagram downstairs in the description bar. Went to her house for a little wine pajama situation yesterday, and we are cooking a small bookish endeavor. So we were talking about that. But of course, she's the best and always gives me books whenever I go to visit her. Either she gives me things that she has 2 copies of somehow, so I get to keep it, or I read it and just deliver it back to her the next time we meet. The first one she gave me was Trust Exercise by Susan Choi, literary fiction. I saw this circulating the tubes and the Instagrams, and Jessica said that people that we both really trust like this book. So we thought possibly to do that as a buddy read. The blurb is super long, so I won't read it to you. But it says, as captivating and tender as it is surprising, trust exercise will incite heated conversations about fiction and truth, and about friendships and loyalties, and will leave readers with wiser understandings of the true capacities of adolescents and of the powers and responsibilities of adults. And then she let me borrow the book that everyone loved this year, Fake Accounts by Lauren Oyler. All my book friends have read this, and all of them absolutely loved it. When something is so loved, half of you wants to read it right away and part of you wants to put it off. But I think that this is the time. I love the cover. So you probably know the premise of this. Basically, on the eve of Donald Trump's inauguration, a young woman snoops through her boyfriend's phone and makes a startling discovery. He's an anonymous internet conspiracy theorist, and a popular one at that. Her boyfriend is running this alt-right conspiracy site. Narrated with seductive confidence and subversive wit, Fake Accounts challenges the way current conversations about the self and community, delusions and gaslighting, and fiction and reality play out in the internet age. We know that Oyler is big brain energy. This is a brainy book. I feel like I should read that this year. Maybe I'll try to finish it before the end of the year. Okay guys, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. I think I'm just gonna cut the vlog here. I probably won't finish another book, you know, in the next day or two. This was a, you know, little cozy, homey vlog for the most part. You know, I wasn't feeling well. Definitely on the upswing now, so I'm feeling much better. I see you later. Bye from me and my crazy lion hair that looks like I slept on it, which I did. But prior to that, I spent an hour and a half on it. So please leave me a compliment, okay? Love you. Bye, cuties.